today we are here to review the Night Cage. Getting close to the Halloween season, so this seemed like a good one to get out and try. Before we get into it, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it down there, because you want to make sure you see more, especially with Halloween season coming, because it's my favorite time of year. We get a lot of good games coming up to try. They're more on the spooky theme. So, got Jonathan here with us, guest speaker. And let's just jump right into a little background on this game. So, Night Cage was 2021 release, just recently came out. It's currently got a 7.6 rating on Board Game Geek and a rank of 5,145. 1 to 5 player game. It says it averages 40 to 60 minutes. We got done a lot faster than that. Age 14 and up. The designers were Christopher Ryan Chan, Chris McMahon, and Roswell Sanders. The artist was also Christopher Ryan Chan, and it was published by Smirk Dagger Games, which is not a company I typically buy from. I had a beef with them from a Gen Con a while back, but I gave this one a try because it's in my realm of game themes that I like. The MSRP is $49.99, but you can probably find it cheaper at your local game store or online. So, quality of pieces. I like the candles. Those are really cool.
The keys are really cool.
The keys are the best part. Yeah, these are really amazing looking. They look like a spine, but with a skull on it. That's a really cool design. Other than that, I mean, the board is okay. It's pretty, but as far as the design of it, bows a little bit in the middle. The cardboard is pretty thin. It's not horrible, but it's not great. The candle's pretty neat as far as the shoe for the tiles. But I don't know. Overall, I'd probably give it a 6.5. That's where I'm at. What do you think?
I'd say a 6.
6?
I mean, this is really the only cool.
Yeah, the keys and the candles.
Everything else is
I like the fact that they made the candles different melted levels. I thought that was really neat. Yeah. But yeah, there's nothing real exciting about it other than the keys. As far as theme, this is where this game is. If it shines at all, it's a dim shine, but it's a shine.
I would agree with that.
Thematically. I mean, it does have a creepy aura about it. It's all black and white art. Everything is, two-tone. And, it does give you impending, a kind of a eerie, creepy feel about it. The player cheat sheets are really they're two-toned, but they have like a hint of the color of your player color, which I thought that was really cool looking. Yeah. The box art is amazing. I love the candle, the candle. That's really the draw. This is the box art and the rule book. It's got the same art. The candle's pretty neat too, as far as the actual shoe being a candle looks neat.
And definitely, it's kind of cool. Like the more you move on, the more tiles you take out, which it looks like the candle's burning down. Yeah. So, I mean, it does have, like, the candle, I think, alone will give you some table presence as people walk by. They're going to look and say, oh, what's that? But, yeah, other than that, I mean, thematically, you're trapped in a hole and you're trying to get out. It's very reminiscent of the Subterra theme, which I liked a lot better. We'll get to that here in a moment. Thematically, I think I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's where I'm at. I would give it maybe a 7.5. Just, I mean, in any type of horror themed game, I always love, and there are some aspects to this that are really kind of cool. But
yeah. As far as the rulebook goes, one thing, it does have an interactive game tutorial that you can get on they have on looks like it's an app almost. Well, it probably is an app because it downloads on the Apple Store or Google Play, but it will teach you the game, which I thought that was pretty cool. The rulebook is really pretty. I mean, it's got the same kind of style art on the inside. There's a lot of good pictures in it to show you how everything works. I would say some of the phrasing, the way the monster attacks was a little confusing, especially when you're bounced off the edge and you have to come back on. And, like, we had a scenario that was not explained in the rulebook where you were bounced off the edge, then somebody later on played a tile that blocked your entranceway onto the board.
So what do you do from there?
Yeah, what do you do from there? There was no explanation for that scenario, so we just winged it. But yeah, all in all, I mean, the rule book isn't bad, and it's very pretty, very easy to read. A large. I love the way they did the examples in it because they put all the candles, the heights they are, the exact way they look on the pieces, and it made it very easy and clear to look at the examples, and showed you how the attacks worked. You know, from at least from a perspective what it did to the tiles, just not that after effect of the monster attacks was the part that was lacking. So I'll give this rule book, I think, a 7.5. It's pretty good. It taught the game well. It was easy to reference to find what you were looking for, but it just was lacking a few of the things we needed to answer some of the specific questions we ran into. Yeah. And on the back, it does kind of have a flow chart of how the turns work, but we didn't really need it. Gives you the actions. Gives you the actions on the card that shows you, what you do on if your light is on or light goes out, which can happen. So same thing. All right. Yeah. So moving on to gameplay. So the gameplay is very straightforward. You have a starting tile that you play that has basically 2 exits from it, and your candle goes on there. So the candles will light up the space they're on and the adjacent spaces of the tile you're from there.
And adjacent spaces could even be like if you're here, it would be this space on the complete other side of the board.
So if I played this tile here, I would be lighting the spaces adjacent. So I would be pulling 2 tiles from the board and placing them on so I could see. This is a starter tile, so it only faces the 2. But if I were to then move subsequently to the adjacent space here, this light would go out. I wouldn't be able to see this one anymore, and I would be putting 3 more tiles down. So your tunnels will be shifting as you move. And that was a creepy way of making this game, flow. I thought it was really kind of cool. So the concept of moving and you losing the visibility, and then if you backtrack later on, the tunnels now changed. It gives you an uneasy feeling. Because go ahead.
And the fact that some of the tiles have like cracks around it, so that means that once you move off at some point, that tile is going to like become a hole.
Yeah.
Which
you or others will fall through. So and some of the all the key locations that you go to get them are cracked, so they will fall through when somebody steps off. So that was a cool concept. If you do fall through a hole, when you fall, you're going to fall off to an edge that is in either the same row or column as that hole. And so if I fell over here, then on my next turn, I'm going to play a landing tile at the edge, and I will land on it, and then I will then have to light up all the spaces around it. So the risk is you could fall into almost anything, and you don't know what you're landing on. And like I said, we are not alone in this tunnel. There are monsters in the tunnel. Now, we played the basic standard game, and the monsters in this one are wax eaters that are in the standard game. And what they do is they burn your candle faster. So landing on them, they will they will knock your light out, which I will get to in a second, but they will eat tiles from the candle, 3 tiles, burning your candle faster. If this candle burns out, it triggers the end game. In the end game, you have to rush to get out if you've got the keys and have the gate identified, and you all have to escape from the same gate. So while there's more than 1 gate tile, there's actually 4 in the candle. All it matters is you've got to get to the same one. And if the light goes out on that gate, it disappears from the board. So you got to keep it lit. So when you land on the monster, he's going to burn your candle, he's going to make your light go out, but he's then going to kick you to an adjacent tile, and he turns into a hole. So it makes it where you're basically now stranded in the dark, and when your light is out, you cannot see even the space adjacent to you. So it makes it very creepy, because if you step, you have no idea what you're stepping on, which would have been more impending if there were more things in the deck. As it was with just the basic monster, it was basically, you knew, okay, worst case scenario, I step, I'm going to burn 3 tiles because I've already lights out. It's not going to matter so much. So that was my biggest grievance of the game, is it just didn't feel that threatening. Especially because we got, I guess in our playthrough, we got very fortunate. We got 3 of keys right next to the gate. So we found the gate in the first 4 tiles we played. and then it stayed lit the whole time because we never had to move away from it to get the keys. So the fact that the key had cracks in it didn't really matter a whole lot because one person went in there and then it was able until somebody moves out, it stays not a hole. Right. So then second person was able to go in there and get a key, and we didn't have to worry about anyone falling through.
And the one thing I didn't like about that is for maybe 3 rounds, like one of us basically just sat there and did nothing.
Yeah,
and that was their turn.
Yeah. Yeah, this definitely, I mean, as I mentioned, this is in the same ballpark as Subterra, which we enjoyed a lot. I think we give it a 9 back in the time we played it. Mm-hmm. But there was much more intimidation, much more threatening situation. Right. Each person had their own special abilities. This game has none of that. So it felt like a light version of Subterra, and it took out all the things we really enjoyed about Subterra.
And I think had there been special abilities for each candle, that might have made this game
a little better. Bumped it up a little. Yeah. But the bigger thing was the monsters. There was no variance. There was just that one. Now, we could have added some in, and it would have changed it. They have some boss monsters, one of which looks really cool, because if it comes out, it fills a quarter of the board. That looks very intimidating. I wish we'd played with some of those from the beginning, but it said specifically to start with this, so we started with that, and it was very disappointing. And as a result, I don't know that we'd ever play it with that, because I know Miranda was not going to play it again. Right. But I don't think, even with me, I don't think I would want to play it again when I could get Subterra and enjoy it more. I mean, what we liked about Subterra was it told a story afterward. We still talk about how you abandoned this in that game and how
I got out.
How I got cornered by that creature and had to keep hiding and try to get around it. None of that happened in this. There was no story to this. It was just we ended the game, it got out, and we still have half the candle left. I mean, it wasn't a threat. Yeah. So it just didn't have enough to it in my eyes to make this worth playing again, especially if you own Subterra. There's other games probably like it too, but that's the one that I think is the closest comparison to this game. So honestly, if I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Subterra 100 times. So,
Same here.
So if you can still track down Subterra, I would choose that over this game. If you thematically, I love the art. I love the way it looks. I wish there was more to it. It's just
there's even a story to it. Like, why are you stuck down there?
Well, I think there was a little bit. I mean, not a real in-depth story of how you got in the hole. It's just it's you awake to discover that you and several others are imprisoned within a pitch-black labyrinth. So that's the story. You just awaken. There's no backstory to it. I'm not sure Subterra had a real in-depth backstory either, but yeah, I mean, it's a shame because it is so pretty. Just the look of it, it definitely gives you that Halloween creepy vibe, and I just wish there was more to it, gameplay. But I can't give this more than, I think I'm going to give it a 4, because I think we gave The Shining a 3 if I remember right, and that was generous. I think some of us gave it a 2. I think I'll give this a 4.
I think you gave it a 2. I know.
No, I think I gave it a 3. I think I was one of the more generous ones, because I think that Alan mentioned how I was being very generous.
I myself would give it a 4 as well. Nothing higher. I mean, and only because the artwork.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the only reason why it's higher.
I really wanted to like this. Yeah. I did, because I don't buy Smirk Dagger games. I haven't. This is the first one I've bought since Nevermore came out, and there's a long story behind that. But it involved tattoo stickers at Gen Con. Really ticked me off. So I did not enjoy that promotion they did at all. Especially because I was hungry. I was hangry at the time when it happened. And I had to go traveling all across Gen Con, gathering up stupid stickers to get the stuff that I could have just got with the game that I bought. I bought the game, and it was like, you could get these extra promo things with it, but you had to do this seek and find for tattoo stickers.
That sucks.
And it was just dumb. It took me like an hour and a half to get through it all. It was way too long.
Ouch.
And, to get the stuff that should have been a promo, they added on with the purchase. It was just annoying. And I said, I'll never buy another Smirk Dagger game. I should have stuck to my guns, because I went and got this because we did a review with which came first a while back as far as the top games from a Halloween or horror theme. Which go check that out. They've got some good picks in there. It's not one of them, but there's some good picks in there. So yeah, check that out. But as far as yours, you said 4. I said 4. I think we're unanimous on that. So, all right. Well, that's our assessment of the Night Cage. So again, it's a good advertisement to go pick out Subterra. So until next time, bye.
Bye.